So let's do a quick review of Excel. And one of the things that we want to do is pause after I'm done explaining what to do, and then I'll show you the solution. So the first thing we're going to do is a sort challenge. We are going to fix the columns and rows, place SAT scores, which are over here next to the last name. You're going to create a table and change the color of the table to orange with blue headers. That's this bar across the top. You're going to sort by SAT score, highest to lowest. Be sure all data stays together. And add conditional formatting to the SAT scores and pull out the SAT column to reveal more of the graph. So when you're done, you want it to look like this, where it says sort this to look like this. So there you go. This is what we want to do. We need to pull this out wider so that we see these charts and graphs. And what you're going to do now is you're going to pause and work on this. And when you're ready, then just keep on going and I'll show you how to do it. Go ahead, click pause, and then go ahead and start me when you're ready. All right, you must be ready for the solution. So we are going to make all of this look like this. So let's try that. First off, I'm going to select all by clicking in between the A and the 1. Then I'm going to double click in between any two columns and any two rows so that we have this looking right. Then when we're done with that, we are going to move the SAT over by the last name. So I am going to cut this, and that's a Control X. And then I'm going to right click here and I can say Insert Cut Cells. I could also have made a blank cell and gotten the handle and dragged it over. So now I have my SAT scores right next to my last name. Now it asks me to add conditional formatting to my SAT scores, which are right here. So I'm going to click on the B to select the whole entire column, and then under the Home tab, I'll see my conditional formatting. I want data bars, and I might as well pick orange since I've got the color orange. And then it says to pull this out a little bit so that we can see the charts and graphs a little bit better. It also said to sort by SAT score, highest to lowest. So I'm going to go ahead and get my sorting figured out on that. So when I do my sorting, I do want to make sure that I select the whole entire table and not just this row so that the data all stays together. If I have already created my table, the easiest way to do this, instead of using the sort and filter up here, would be to just simply grab hold of this little down arrow and say sort largest to smallest. And there we have it. And if I scroll down, I'll see my little data bars. And that's the end of that assignment. Let's go ahead and move on over to the formula challenge. Click on the formula challenge. Okay, so this says to calculate the line totals right here, and you're going to calculate the first total and then do a fill down. Then you're going to add an 8% tax and then use the sum function to calculate the total. So you want to calculate this one by hand using the equal sign and your formula. Copy that down and then add your tax and your total. I'm going to pause this and then I'll show you how to do this. So you be sure to click pause, and when you're ready for the solution, go ahead and start this back up. Well, you must be ready for the solution, so let's go ahead and figure out this line total. So we need to multiply the individual price by the quantity ordered. So that's going to be multiplication. We're going to use the equal sign, and then I'm going to click on the price, and then I'm going to use the shift and the 8, which is the star or the asterisk, and then click on the quantity. Notice that I'm not typing in $2.29 and 20. I'm clicking on the cells. That way, if the cell changes, like they order 22 instead of 20, my formula will automatically update. When I'm done with my formula, if it looks correct, I hit the Enter key, and it has automatically multiply B2 times C2, whatever's in there. Then I'm going to grab this little handle here and pull that formula down, and it copies the formula. And I can click on each one and make sure that it calculated this correctly. And this says B3 times C3. Yes, B3 times C3. And this one is C4. Now, our tax is 8%, so I am going to figure out this formula. So I need to get a total of all of these and then add the tax in to figure out what that is, what my tax is. All right, so I am going to do, I can do an equal sign, and or I could do the sum formula if I wanted, but the equal sign, I need this plus this plus this. And since this needs to be done first, I need to put parentheses around this part of the formula. And then I need to multiply this by 0.08 if I know my percentages correctly. So the multiplication 0.08 equals. So that's my tax, and then here's my total. And I could use my quick sum here. It's showing me with the marching ants what it's going to sum. That's correct, and I hit enter, and there's my grand total. Now we're going to move on to the chart challenge. So the chart challenge, it says to make a chart, switch the row and the column, use a foot for the most current year, and put in data labels outside the end, and put a gradient behind the chart. And I can click on chart 1 here and see what it's supposed to look like at the end. So we're going to make a chart. The quickest way is just to highlight this chart area, and hit the F11 key. Now, if you are on a laptop, you'll probably have to hold the function key down because there's something else on there. And it said to switch the row and the column. So there I did. It said to put a gradient in the background. So I'm going to just right click and format the plot area. And I'm going to put a gradient in, and I can pick whatever color gradient I want. If blue is fine with me, then that works great. Or I could change it to a different color if I prefer. I can also click on any one of these and pick a little darker color if I wanted. And I can move my sliders around to change the gradient a bit. Okay, if I am happy with that, then great. The other thing it said to do on our chart challenge was to put in data labels outside the end and use a foot for the most current year, and one's running and one's walking, so I might just change those a little bit. So okay, I need to add my data labels. Now anytime that I don't see my chart design and format, I just make sure I click on the chart. Now I can do that by clicking the plus sign, or I can also come in to my chart design and add a chart element here and add my data labels this way, or I can click the plus sign and put a check mark in the data labels, and then if they don't go where I want them, I can click here, and it said outside the end, and that's exactly where they are. Okay, and it asked me to put a foot inside here. If I want a running foot, a runner here, and yeah, a runner. Let's put a runner here and a walker here, a hiker here. And I can right click on that, or in this case it already popped open, and it's going to be on the fill in line, and I want a picture. And generally when you look for something like this, icons work really well. And in this case it's a runner. Maybe I'll just put run. There we go. And I'll say insert. And then I want to stack that so I see runners all the way along. Okay, now here's the hiker. how many hiking miles, so let's click on that. And I clicked on it once and then clicked again to select these individually. Then again, the format data series in the paint bucket. And I want a picture, insert, I'll go for icons and see if I can find hike. And if not, I'll find walk. Oh yeah, here's a hiker, perfect. And again, I want to stack that instead of stretch it out. So there's my chart all ready to go, and I can put in a different title if I want, like hiking and running miles over time. So there we go, and we're done with our chart. Well, I hope that helped you get started on taking a look at some things. Oh, let's do one more. Let's do one more. The look like this sort challenge, not the sort challenge, but we are going to do the make this challenge look like this. Okay, this one might be a little bit, take a little bit more time. Let's try it. So let's go here. And the first thing I'm going to do is double click in between each one of these. Again, pause me and then come back if you need some help. And what else do I need to know about this? Okay, this is spaced out a little bit along the side. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to pull this out a little bit on this side so that they're spaced out. I also noticed that these are centered and they're bold and they're in white, and then these are in a different color here. So I will do that. I will come here. I'm going to make this bold, and under this alignment, I am going to say I want center and center. And that's going to be centered, and those are white. Then this part, the paint bucket, and I can right click as well. I think it was kind of a maroon color or something like this. Doesn't have to be perfect. And here's my menu. And I think this was centered over the top, so I'll have to merge this. And I can right click and go to format cells, or there's merge and center right here as well. So I could do all of this, but I think I'll just go ahead and click on merge and center, puts it there. And I believe this was a little bit bigger font. And bold. Menu planner for November. So there it is, and that's in a dark orange with white lettering. So let me just do that. I'll change the font here to white. Oh, it didn't really disappear. I just need to put a background on it. And there we go. The other thing that I noticed on this, all of these are centered. I need to do that on all of these. And there's a little turkey. So let's go for that. So all of these are centered. Everything is under alignment. It is center and center. And there were lines in between each of these. So I can do that too on the border. So on my borders, I'll click here. And maybe a thinner line on the inside lines. There we go. Let's see how that border looks. Oh, what did I do wrong? I did the whole thing, right? So let's do a Control Z. I want borders just on this part here. And again, I'll click here, or I can right click. Remember, I'm kind of a right clicker. Just right click and format cells and then click on alignment, or I'm sorry, border. And with the border, we'll do a thicker outline. And there's our inside, and click OK. What else do we have to do with this? We have to add the little turkey. So I'm going to say Insert, illustrations in pictures, and I'm going to go to stock images and see if I can find a turkey. You can also find one on your machine.